All right, LogicLemur here. I've got a Sudoku puzzle I kind of wanted to get into called Stack 'em Up, Knock 'em Down by rockratzero. Looks like an interesting little puzzle. And let's see what we got going here. We'll start with reading the rules and then we'll get into it. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. All that means is every row, every column, and every 3x3 box has the digits 1 through 9 once each. Digits, and then we got Kropki pairs, so we've got white dots and we've got black dots. White dots mean that the digits that are on either side of it are consecutive, so this is a 1, this would be a 2, this is a 5, this could be a 6. The black Kropki dots mean that the two numbers on either side are in a 1 to 2 ratio. So if this was a 1, this would be a 2. If this was a 2, this would be a 4, or it could be a 1. If this was a 3, this would be a 6, as you can see. 4 to 8, those are the kind of the options you can get. In a black Kropki dot, you can never do 5, 7, and 9 because half of 5 is 2.5 and double it is 10. Neither one is a usable Sudoku digit. Same goes with 7 and 9. And then we've got, on top of that, we've got Jenga blocks, which are killer cages. So basic killer cages mean any one of these cages, as you see here, these ones are colored in because they've got a special Jenga qualification, but whatever is in the top left corner of that cage is what the two digits sum to. Now the Jenga version here is that we have the letters that spell Jenga, Jenga, and they are a given value that the user has to solve. And the caveat on it is that the value, the numerical value, rises as you increase the letter alphabetically. So A is less than E, etc. And then we've got two blocks that have fallen and are skewed. These are these two blocks. And the cage totals and dots apply within the blocks. So imagine they only cover the two sides, which means these are the block, these are the blocks. That's the thing there. Okay, those are the rules. Looks like a lot of fun. Let's get into it. So, first things first. Usually what I do is I look for either very low digit killer cages or very high valued killer cages. And when you go to high valued killer cages, usually you want them to be the least number of boxes. So in here we've got 5s. These are the lowest ones that I see. So a 5 in a 2-digit cage, and they have to be a 2-digit cage because you can't repeat digits in a killer cage. There's only 2 ways you can make a 5 in a killer cage, which is 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. Now this one has a Kropki dot in it as well, so it has to therefore be the 2-3 variant instead of the 1-4 variant because the 1-4 are not consecutive. So we've got another 1-5 cage right next to it. Since this entire box can only have the digits 1 through 9 once in them, this cannot be 2 or 3, which means it has to be 1 or 4, the other variant, and I said therefore that's 1 or 4. Let's see, other options. We've got a 9 here. That is a black Kropki dot, so remember they have to be a 1 to 2 ratio. The only way to make a 9 in a 1 to 2 ratio is 3, 6. Now we've got an 11 that has to be consecutive digits. The only way you can make 11 with consecutive digits is 5 and 6. So we've got a 3, 6 pair here. Opposite way. We've got a 5, 6 pair here, which means this cannot be 6, so it has to be the 3, and that has to be the 6. Okay, what's next? We've got another 5 here. Oh yeah, right. 5 with the white Kropki dot means it has to be the 2-3 variant. Okay. Now where to go? Probably Jenga. We've got A's, which have to be the lowest valued. These are all A variants. Now we've got some interesting things here because we've got a 2-cell A and we've got a 4-cell A. So this 2-cell A can't be anything less than 10. Why is that? Because 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the very least that these can be. 1, 2, 3, and 4 equals 10. Now we'll get into the Kropki dot part of it later, but so this A has to be greater than 10. The highest you can make a 2-digit cell that also has a black Kropki dot in it is 48, which is 12, which is higher than 10. The next down is 36, which is 9, so it cannot be that. So this has to be 48. It doesn't have any other options. So now we know this 4-cell. If my phone would stop going off, that'd be nice. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Do we want to look at this one or do we want to look at this one? So we know A is 12. There's only a certain number of ways you can make 12 in 2 cells. 9, 3, 8, 4, and 7, 5. Well, it can't be 8, 4, or 7, 5, so this has to be 9, 3. Now, let's go back to this guy. Or we'll do some quick Sudoku. These have to be 1, 2, and 7, so what's left in this row? Okay, so we've got the A, which is 4-cell, and it has to equal 12. So how do we equal 12 in 4 cells and using 2 consecutive pairs and 2 1-to-2 ratio pairs? It's a good question. This 1-to-2 ratio cannot be 3, 6, because we've got a 3 here. It cannot be 4, 8, because we've got a 4, 8 pair there. So it either has to be 1, 2, or 2, 4. So there's always a 2 in it. It could be 1, 2, and 4. Now if it's 1, 2, that would be 3, and these 2 digits together have to equal 9. So they would be 5, 4. It's only consecutive digits to equal 9. Now if this was 2, 4, that would be 6. And we'd have to get another 6 in a consecutive pair. There's no way to do 6 in a consecutive pair of digits. So this cannot be 2, 4. Okay. Now if we got a 4, 5 here, this has to be an 8. This has to be a 4. What else we got? So we've got, there's a 3 here and a 3 in this cell, so none of these can be 3, so there has to be a 3 here. G is obviously further down the alphabet than A and E, so G has to be larger than A. A is 12. We've figured that out already. So if I were to put a 3 in here, I can never get larger than 12. Because the only other digit I can go with is 9. It would make it 12. So these can't be 3. So this has to be 3. That makes that have to be 2. Because they're consecutive. And the only other options were 1 or 7. Okay. What else do we have? 1, 4, and 5. So, well, we got a 4, 5 pair here. So 4 and 5 can't be any. These have to be a 4, 5 pair. Means this has to be an 8, 9 pair. Okay, so now we know what G is. G is 17. So we've got this G that already has 5 in it. So these have to be 12. The only way to make 12, as we figured out up here, is 4, 8 when we've got a 1, 2 ratio. That makes this a 5, this a 4. We've got G again that has to be 12, but this time it's a consecutive. So the only way to make, wait, no, sorry, being stupid, 17. G is 17, not 12. Let's think of A for a second. So G being 17, consecutive digits to get 17, 9 and 8. It's the only way to get 17. Which makes this digit has to be a 7. Then this digit has to be 6. These just have to be 1, 2, and 7. So, where does that take us? This A, I don't think it's very helpful right now. How about this A? Well, let's go back to this G, actually. We know it's consecutive, it has to equal 17, so that's 9, 8. That's 9, that's 8. That puts that as a 4 and an 8. That 8 gives me 9 and 8. Now do we want to go to this A? We've got to get to 17 somehow. I don't know if that's the play just yet. What else can we do? I don't see anything obvious in Sudoku. What is it? A has to be 12, right? Let's go back to the A and just take a look at it and do the options again, because it should be very similar to this one, if not the same. So it cannot be 8 and 4, because that makes 12. If it's 3, 6, that's 9. This would have to be 1, 2. That would work. If it's 2, 4, that's 6. This would have to equal 6. You can't do consecutives. That doesn't work. If it's 1, 2, that's 3. And these would have to equal 9, which is 4, 5. So that's two ways to do it. Okay, so it's either 3, 6, and 1, 2 here. And if it's a 3, 6, this is 1, 2. And if it's 1, 2 here, this has to be 4, 5. Right, so this can't be 4 because of that 4. So this can't be 5. This can't be 3, so this can't be 6 because of that. Oh wait, yeah, it's either 1, 2, or 4, 5. It's either 1, 2, 3, 6. So what about E? What's the value of E? We know it's higher than 12, but it's less than 17. And it can't have a 9 or an 8 on it. So the highest it can be is 7, 6, which is 13. So it has to be 13. It has to be higher than 12. So this has to be a 7, 6 pair. This has to be the 6. This has to be the 7. That has to be 5, 6. So now this cannot be the 6, 3, which means this has to be the 4, 5. That gives me 5 and 4. I've got a 1, 2 pair in Sudoku there, which I like, but it doesn't seem to do anything just yet. 1, 2, no, not seeing any Sudoku up there. So do we have another E anywhere? We do up here. It has to be 13. What can this digit be? I guess it could be 1, 2, 3, 6, or 7. Does that help me any bit? Well, it can't be 1, because there's a 1, 4 here. So if E has to be 13 total, these have to be consecutives. So it can't be 1, 2. It could be 2, 3 to be 5. I don't think that's the answer either. What about in here? We've only got 4 left. I need to get 1, 2, 3, and 5. They could be anywhere. No. Wait, this 1, 2 gives me a 3 here. That's been there forever. You're probably yelling at me. So E, which we determined was 13. And the only thing I got left is 9, 4. So that works, obviously. Good. You always hate to find a value where you can't figure it out, or if it doesn't match what you thought it was. B. What about this A? Now there's a bit of restriction on it. It has to equal 12. It can't be 9, 3, or 8, 4, because there's a 9 here and a 4 here. So it has to be 7, 5. And this 5 makes that a 7, and that a 5. That's not a 7. What else? Where are we? Well, we can take that 3 out. No. Is there anything in here? I don't think there's going to be anything in here really to do. Oh no, there is a. Sorry, there is 6s. None of these can be 6. That's 6. These two are now either 3 or 9, as we know on a Kropki. A black Kropki cannot be a 9. So that's 3. That's 9. That's 6. That's 8. That's 9. That's 2. That's 3. Okay. Now we've got 1, 2, 5, and 7. This is not 2 or 5. These are not 2. These are not 7. That's not 5. I got a 1, 7 pair now, so these are not 1, so this is 5 and 2. Now these have to be 1 and 3, which gives me this as an 8. That doesn't do much. Well, this can't be a 2. Still not helpful. We got a 1, 7 pair here. So that's got to be a 4 and a 1. That 1 gives me 2 and 1. And 2 and 1. These 3 have to be 2, 6, and 7. This can't be 2. Not these 3 in this column. They have to be 4, 9, and 8. This means that one of these has to be 8. Well, that can't be 9. So if this is 4 or 8, it has to be a 4, 8 pair. Because if this is 4, it can only be with 8 because it can't be with 2. And if this is 8, it has to be with 4. So this is 4, 4, 8, which means that is the 9. That's the 4. That's the 9. That makes that the 8 and the 4. So these two are 3 and 5. This has to be 3 and 6 and 5 and 7 and 2. This has to be 6 because it's consecutive. 7, it can't be 8. This can't be 1, so it has to be 3. This is a 1, 7. This column. These 3, we've got 1, 5, and 9. That's not 5. That's not 5. So this is. Does that 1 and 9 give me anything? It doesn't look like it just yet. Oh, we got a given right here. This has to be 8, both by that row and by the consecutive. So now we know what n is, although that doesn't give us any information because we don't care what n is. So we've got, in this column, we need a 1, a 5, and a 7. That's not 1 or 5, so that's 7. That's 1, that's 7, that's 1, that's 7, that's 5. We've got 1, 9, and 6. That's not 6, so this is 6. That's got to be 1 and 9, and 1 and 7, and 1, 2, 7. 1 gives me a 3 and a 1, and a 9 and a 3. So these two, we know what E is, right? What did we determine E was? 13. So we've got 5 So this has to be 8. This has to be 9. These are 2 and 4, and we've got that set out. So that's 4. That's 2. And there we go. Not bad. Stack them up, knock them down by rockratzero. Great little puzzle. Really love the Jenga constraint. Had a lot of fun with that. Hope you all enjoyed it, and hope you maybe learned a little something about these constraints if you didn't know too much about Sudoku already. All right, and that's when we'll end it off. Great puzzle. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.